Who looks upon a river in a meditative hour and is not reminded of the flux of all things? The Dan River region is a unique area comprised of many communities, all united by a common feature. We asked residents to tell stories and share memories about the river in Caswell County, North Carolina.
My name is Hosanna Blanchard, and I am from Milton, North Carolina.
Hi, I'm Twinkle Richmond-Graves. I'm Earl Richmond's daughter, and I too am a resident of Milton.
My name is Elizabeth Lassiter. I've lived here all my life in Blanche, and this is about the memories of the Dan River and Rattlesnake Creek.
My name is Joe Graves. I am the vice president of this beautiful museum in Milton, North Carolina, which is known as the Thomas Day House Union Tavern.
This is my horse farm. My husband and I, we keep our horses here. We have seven horses. The farm is right along the creek. So our horse riding trails, when we go horse riding, the trail just follows along the creek down through here, and it's right behind this barn. Dodge is my dog, and he grew up here too. This is his little stomping grounds. He loves to get in that creek. You can't keep him out of that creek or that river. Oh boy. He loves that. Summertime, fun in the summertime. It was our swimming. We didn't have a pool. So when we were kids, if we wanted to play in the water, we just went to the closest water, and that was either the Dan River or the creek, Country Line Creek. It twists and it turns and it curves, and in a lot of the curves, it'll be deeper than like the straight runs. It'll get real shallow during the summer in the straight runs, and when it goes to curve, there'll be pockets of really deep water where you can actually swim, but most of it's, waist deep, knee deep, ankle deep, unless it's flooded, and then it's way deep.
So who would you go swimming with?
My little sister and my older brother. We'd all go together. Once in a while we'd have friends, just whoever was around, really. When you walk, I don't know so much about if this is on the river, but on the creek I know for sure. There are slides where the beavers or whatever will slide down the bank. And it's like a mudslide that will go down the bank into the creek. And as kids, we would find one of these mudslides, and if it slid down into a really deep spot, we would get water and we'd splash water all up on there, and then we'd slide down this beaver slide. Looking back, sometimes I think my mom was crazy to let us do it from a safety standpoint. It's like we'd just go off for hours, and she'd say, well, be back in 2 hours, and if you're not back in 2 hours, I'll send one of your older brothers to find out what happened, and she would just let us go, and I guess she knew that it could be dangerous, but she knew that we were going to be kids and needed an outlet for all this energy and stuff, and it was, I don't know, she just let us do it.
We used to catch catfish, loaded with catfish. That's the mostly. Sometimes you catch a brim or some eel or something, but most of the catfish was in the river. I don't think it's many catfish in the river now.
You said your father would grow corn by the river?
Yeah, he used to raise all the corn on the river. You didn't have to put no fertilizer, nothing on it. It just grew up big corn.
When I was a little girl, my cousins would come from Richmond, and we would jump on some of the rocks that could be seen. Not too much of a safety thing to do, but we would do it because we were kids. And then we would walk on the edge of the banks there to the old train depot so we could, go in that. But of course it was closed and we shouldn't have, but we did. I used to fish in the river with my cousins. Of course, Daddy and Mommy never knew where I was. They thought I was doing something nice somewhere. But I was hanging out with all the boys, being a tomboy. we wouldn't bring the fish back because we weren't supposed to be down here, so we would throw them back into the river. When the dam shows out, as we call it, it takes up all of this, all the way up the hill, and then it's part of it that overflows on the opposite side, and it takes out part of the road. So sometimes when you think you're getting ready to scoot over to Danville or Mountain Hill, road is closed because Dan has shown out.
You want to talk a little bit about your property here?
I lived about a quarter of a mile from here, then straight across from the river, and the creek was to the right of me, and we could walk to the creek. We did many afternoons. We'd get our work done in the mornings, and the hot afternoons we'd go to the creek, cool off, and to stay until we had to go cook supper. People loved to fish out there, but most of the adults went out to fish in the river. And if you ate the fish when we were growing up, we had to soak them for a good while to use them because the water wasn't clear like the creek water. Because we were afraid of the deep water in the river, and I warned my children not to go in the river, afraid they'd get drowned. And one of my bad memories was a farm boy got drowned in the river one time. They were working in the low grounds, and I guess he got hot. He was young and he didn't know the difference, so he ran and jumped in the water, and he drowned. And we could hear the moaning and groaning all the way up to my house, which was right straight across from my river.
Thomas Day was a free black cabinet maker in the town of Milton, North Carolina. And by 1850, he's the largest furniture manufacturer by a factor of about 4 of any furniture manufacturer in the state of North Carolina. The Dan River, being a water transportation source, was extremely efficient for Thomas Day, because he could put his loads on the bateaus, and with no fuel expended, with manpower and wooden boats, he could transport his goods up and down the Dan River. This part of the county that surrounds the river really shows you the economic engine that was in place that caused Thomas Day to come here. This rich alluvial soil in the bottomland of the Dan River drew in farmers and plantation owners and allowed them to very quickly raise a large amount of crop and to make good, strong profit on it. Those profits increased the demand for houses and luxury furniture. And Thomas Day was making architectural elements for those houses, as well as luxury furniture for every need of a household.
I would love to have river tours on a boat or a kayak. I think that would be great. That's my wish, is to have it open so people would enjoy it like I did when I was a kid, and see what beautiful wonders of nature are up and down the dam.